And the thing about great art is that it examines not only the darkness, but it also examines the light. And the reason I'm bringing that up, because of this historical moment in 2023, we have found ourselves urgently and desperately clinging on to faith. Faith of all kinds. I would not tell you what to believe. I would only advocate the importance of belief, of spirituality. Why? Because we've come through torture and torment, through all those spaces, and we're trying desperately to find ways to hold on to life, because everything seems to be slipping by the wayside. For example, as I speak about the importance of faith, you must also remember this is a neo-fascist moment worldwide. This is a moment of demagoguery. This is a moment of oppression. This is a moment where, for example, nativism, provincialism, nationalism, all the dark energies are returning. Okay? When I was in Barcelona a few months ago, I felt it acutely. That Catalonian arrogance, that need for control, for domination, for the rights of one's own people. So what that does is it's a divisive logic. And as we know, divisive logics are everywhere. It's all about borders. It's all about us and them. Now, that is the complete opposite to the way in which Jennifer Morrison operates. She's trying to bring together two contraries. She's trying to create a system of unification rather than a system of separation. And the two spheres, you can see, of course, are two different kinds of painting. One, of course, is highly methodical, mathematical. The other one is very Dionysian, very sort of organic, turbulent in its sort of forces and energies. So we have this tension. It's a tension we have known, which is probably made most famous through Nietzsche in the notion of Apollo versus Dionysus. You must be aware of that dichotomy. So that tension is being played out in the works. When I look, for example, at the very meticulous sort of mark making in these bands, they're sort of restrained, sort of contained versions of a Bridget Riley painting. In other words, of op art. Op art is optical art. It wasn't just the inverse of pop art. Basically about a way in which to see things in a measured, ordered way. It's about the tension between colors that are created in that space, where they vibrate. That's something that Bridget Riley is most famous for. So what's happening here is that Jennifer Morrison is taking op art and basically combining it with what we typically call gestural art. But these are just names. These are not summations of the work. What I'm trying to understand that was why, and she's mentioned this just now, why bring these two together? We need to bring these two together because we need a new synergy. And that's what the whole world needs, psychologically, emotionally, intellectually, creatively. We need to be synergetic. We need to create new compounds, okay? And this is what's happening. Now, as you know as well, in terms of the depth of things, what's curious here, one depth is visceral, which is the orgiastic Dionysian aspect of the painting form. The other form of depth is conceptual and technical and technological, and it's where optical sort of trickery comes in to create another form of depth of field. This one is synthetic historically. This one is organic historically. This one is romantic, and this one is rational in terms of the two energy fields that are playing themselves out. Why we need to combine them, as I said, it is because without that combination, we will fall apart as a global civilization. And we are on the verge of complete self-destruction. Sorry to be bleak, forgive me, but I really do believe we are fucked. So it's in that mix. How then do we survive? What is the project? What is the human project, the new human project? Now, in 2019, Paul Klee made the remark that in times of fear, we turn to abstraction. And that's 2019. We are now in an extremely fearful moment. It is completely unsurprising that globally, abstraction is assuming center stage in art. Everywhere you turn, in any country you're in, this is the dominant medium. This is the new matrix. The idea of portraiture is tied very much to the notion of identity politics, for example, or an issue of race, for example. Commodification of the black body, for example, in black portraiture has become the other big commodity. But this is a different commodity. This is a commodity that's actually concerned with what we both most want. We need to look at things without being told what we're seeing. We need to look at things with the freedom of our own instincts, our own perceptions, our own minds. This is what we need. We are tired of tyrannically being controlled, being told what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, which is the whole basis of cancel culture and all the political movements at the moment, which, while they have a quality of nobility, are also only a decoy and an illusion. Because what we need to return to is a universal humanity. That is what will save us as a species. And in terms of the role of art in that regard, what becomes very intriguing is that art, especially abstract art, has the uncanny ability to ease us, to calm us down, because there's no burden of history. There's no knowledge of forethought that you must see this. What you see, what I see are entirely different things, but that's the liberty, the radical subjectivity of the experience of art, which abstraction allows. In terms of what it is that Jennifer Morrison does in this context, you notice, for example, there is definitely, and it's one of the first things we talked about, oh, you're wearing a bling jacket. It shimmers. Everything about Jennifer is all about a certain vivacity. There's a vivacity in the color palette. Sometimes it's even noisy, loud. Sometimes it's even synthetic, in its hues. She's not so. Even though it's organic, it is also tied to what Elise is very much preoccupied with, which is the synthetic. We can't seem to separate. Our blood, our bodies are compounds of synthetic and organic matter. Everything about it is that mix. And we cannot therefore escape our contamination. So this is, in a sense, also another thematic that's running through Jennifer Morrison's paintings. But it's also what makes it incredibly current. So, for example, if you were to contrast, say, Turner to Morrison's paintings, what's interesting, what we forget, that Turner was painting during a time of escalated industrialization. There was a dirt in the air, literally. Whistler saw it as well. Monet saw it as well in his visit to London. That filth and that compound of light and filth creates an interesting tension in the way you see the world. So that Anthropocene knowledge was way then already ahead of its time, seeing how things could decay, how things could be destroyed. Now, in the midst of all that decay and destruction, there's all that beauty. So what's happening here in the works that Jennifer Morrison's painting, she's trying to take us through a synthetic realm into a realm that is a new kind of post-industrial, technologically driven synthetic wonder. So in that space, in that beautiful compound, which is where I think I certainly understand the work. But of course, you can also look at it and say, well, this is the thing about the trick of abstract art. What are you seeing? Is it a sort of hastily painted bouquet? Is it some sort of underbrush? Is it coiled wires, or suddenly, what the hell's going on in the sensations you're getting? What you do get is a sense of nesting, is a sense of a fretwork, and that mix is there that gives it that energetic quality, and that combined with the more static creates that tension as well in the way we see and hold the world. We need balance because we're living in a time of excess. Not only a time of excess, a time of great threat. We're living in a time where the death instinct has been amplified to such an extreme degree that we've become deeply, tragically fatalistic. That's why absolutism is on the rise. That's why extremism is on the rise. That's why fascism is the new order of the day. Now, against all of that is what all of us must do, is fight. And abstraction is the path to liberty. And the works that you're seeing over here is one individual artist's attempt to do so. Thank you very much.
Ashraf, thanks so much once again. Good to have you back. And again, thanks, Jennifer. Thank you to all, and do stick around, have a great, enjoy the evening. Thank you very much.